Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Systems Masterclass. This is a recording, so you can actually listen to it at any time of the day or night, or send it to a friend to listen to if you like. So what is this all about? Well, we got into property quite a few years ago now and realised recently that we hadn't systemised anything. We were feeling a bit overwhelmed. So about 2 years ago, we decided to get our heads down and focus on systemising just about everything. Our motto was, if it moves, systemize it. I think it was also because as the business grew, we began to feel rather overwhelmed, and it was just time to take control back, I guess. We wanted to be able to move forward with confidence in our business. One of the things we have recently done is introduce some amazing software, which we shall be introducing you to later on. But I would like to say that it was all me who designed this. There I am on the right with my beautiful daughter Emily on the left. And I would like to say all of this work is mine. But as most things in life, Emily is the architect behind this all. She's actually got a degree in architecture. And so she's like the captain of the ship. I'm just a member of the crew, and we've been boarded by our first mate. Here he is. This is Will, who sat right beside me.
Hi there, Francis.
Yeah, and Will, together, all of us, I think we run a tight ship now. So I think Will's doing something. I think that means you're cool, doesn't it, Will?
I'm not sure about that. I don't know how to recast it now. No.
So Will's been working with us together now for about 3.5 years.
3.5 years, yeah.
And Will is also known as Will No Voids Matthews, because in 3.5 years he's had the astounding record of not having a void in any room, not even for an hour. How'd you do that?
Well, I think systems really. About 3.5 years ago, we were sort of fully focused on changing our business so that it wasn't taking up quite so much time and systemizing as much as possible just to make everything work smoothly. So,
yeah, brilliant. So this is who we're going to be introducing you to today. This is Polio. Is it Polio, Will?
Yeah, Podio.
Polio. It depends if you're American or not. The system was actually created by a rather large American company, and the system is amazing. And we've been able to tap into their system. So why is it a robot? I'm a very visual person, and it just helps me to think of Polio, the property management system, as a nice friendly robot who wants to help me. I know Will thinks I'm a bit odd with all that, but so tell us what Polio is there. He's handing it to us on a plate, Will. What can Polio do for us?
Yeah, I love your visualization, Francis. But yeah, with Polio, so Polio is a piece of property management software that we've been working on over the last couple of years. And a lot of you might have seen version 1, but this is now version 2. So we've adapted a lot of new things into Polio that we didn't have before, which has just completely transformed the way we do things. So it's not just something we bashed together. Polio as a piece of software is used in a lot of industries, and we've adapted it to work for property management. And so it's a proper piece of software that works smoothly, but at the same time is fully adaptable. It's been used by the MLCS group. You could say it's been beta tested by them to check that it works. And we've been using it in our own property management business for the last couple of years. But also loads of guys in the group have, and it works really well. And some of the features I'm just about to talk to are, stand out from the crowd from any other property management software. One of the best things we can do is one-click references. So when a tenant fills in a tenant application form on Polio, we can click at the click of a button, we can send their reference to check that they're past their reference to their landlord and to their employer straight away. So no writing tedious emails asking for details, we just with the click of a button. We've also got one-click tenancy creator, and this just completely transformed it for us, because beforehand we were spending so long printing out tenant application forms, ASTs, all the deposit protection details, and now we just, with the click of a button, we say send them their tenancy, and it sends all the information off to them to fill out, digitally sign, and send back to us to sign. So it's just a complete game changer. And the joy of this is, I don't know if you've used other property management software or something like Excel, where it works when you've got a few houses, but when you've got maybe 30 or 40 houses, it becomes a real pain and just takes up more of your time. Whereas with this software, it's completely scalable. So whether you've got one property or you've got 100 properties, it's the same cost, and it works just the same. So it's perfect.
And over the years, we've tried loads. A lot of them we found to be quite poor. Some of them do kind of half the things we want, but not everything that we want. But the worst thing about them was they were quite expensive, and we always felt like we were paying out too much cash at the bank each month and not quite getting the service that we wanted to get. But we are very excited about Polio. Will, of all the people using it in our support group, we've had lots of feedback. Has anybody said anything about it could be improved, could be better? How's the feedback been?
Well, so we've had excellent feedback from everyone in the group, and it's sort of that's part of the reason why we're launching it now and not a year ago, is because we wanted to sort of beta test it and check that it was going to work for everyone. And it's now at the stage where it's fully up and running, properly working for everyone without having any glitches or anything like that. So it's completely smooth running.
Cool. Right. So before we go any further, I know a lot of you guys listening to this might know who we are. We've been running events for some time, but if you're just coming across us for the very first time, I thought I'd do a very quick introduction. I'll keep this really short. I've been working in the property industry myself for, I don't know, maybe I've been a landlord for about 20 years or so. We've always been working, maybe coming up 4 years now, is it?
Yeah, 3.5, 4 years I've been working with you.
Plus you've been around property for some time. Your parents have got a
That's right.
HMO as well at the same time. But myself and Emily, then we started to run our own trainings about 4 years ago. And these are some of the events we do. We do events every 2 months. We've done many events over the past 4 years, and we've built up quite an amazing community. All those people in that group, I can name almost all of them. I love them all to bits. Everybody's so supportive. So yeah, I'm not going to get too emotional on that. So we've been running really successful events. Also, we've been creating lots of what we call essential education. You can see these are some of the manuals that we've created over the last few years. We're talking about the systems manual on the right-hand side today, but we also created a business plan. We found a lot of people just don't have a business plan, so we've created one for people. Endless tenants, something we put together with Will, how to keep the rooms full 100% of the time, and then how to be overwhelmed by employing a property manager earlier on in your property career as you can to avoid overwhelm. And then the systems one we're talking about today. Plus we've created a number of other things like rent-to-rent secrets, a book that we only sell to people in our community, 52 multi-let tips. It's amazing, actually 52 really good tips. And Mayhem Merger Multi-Lets was a book that I wrote about my, what should I call it, an introduction of fire. What's the phrase I'm trying to think of? The Chariots of Fire. It's not that. Anyway, but it's my introduction into property. My first 2 years didn't go too well, so that was the Mayhem part. And the flash drive on the end, you can see, that's our pretty amazing deal analyzer. I'd say it's one of the best deal analyzers in the property industry. You can use for rent to rent and HMOs and buy-to-lets. Amazing. This is our legendary Bible. It's a 250-page manual, everything you need to know about rent to rent. We're actually on about version 16 or 17 now. We update it every 2 months or so. So if you have got a copy, you've probably got an old copy of this. It might be time to trade it in to get a new one. And one quick little gift for you we've got today is every house needs some house rules to teach the tenants to look after the property. Well, most house rules are really tedious and boring, and tenants just throw them in the bin. We've made ours, as you can see, great fun, how to manoeuvre a dishcloth, how to operate domestic equipment. So you can download this at the end of the webinar. You go to our website, multiletcashflowsystem.com, which is at the bottom of every slide. Click on the manual page and you'll find it as a free download. And that's a little gift for you today. So our big focus over the last couple of years really has been trying to maintain the lifestyle, because what we initially did is we created another huge job to replace the job that we wanted to escape from. So we thought, well, this is not the reason we got into property. And we'd see all these pictures of people having their lattes and their cappuccinos down the cafe, and our reality was not the same at all. So over the last couple of years, we've been putting a lot of focus and a lot of time into regaining the lifestyle, getting the lifestyle back. How successful has that been? Well, Will sat beside me, and Will doesn't tell lies, do you, Will?
No, I don't tell lies.
No, got your fingers crossed there.
No.
So, Will, how many times would you say I visit our rent-to-rent properties, which are actually in Bristol?
So Francis visits once a year.
And we call that day our pedantic day, when I've got a license to go around and be as pedantic as I like, just to make sure everything is perfect. Will, are we thinking about changing it to twice a year?
Oh, I think that would be one time too many.
So do the systems work? Absolutely. I visit the properties once a year. But I don't know, you hear these stories about, the lifestyle thing. Can you get the balance right, the work-life balance? People say it's all a myth. Well, I can assure you it's absolutely not, because that's what we've been able to create over the last few years. We're all entrepreneurs, I suppose. When you get into property, you do have to adopt the entrepreneur mindset. And I'm just going to tell you this little story about this is how I was before I got into property. I worked in the construction industry, and like most people, I got roughly 8 hours sleep. I had to go to work for 8 hours a day, and the rest of the time you'd play, say, for 8 hours. So I wanted to get into property to change my life, to make a better lifestyle for me and my family. So pretty quickly, my life became this. Just loads of work, and not very much sleep and a bit of play. But I think this is a time when we find a lot of people quit because they've got poor systems. They think it's going to be easy, but like any new industry, when you get into it first, it's going to be hard work. You've got to get your head down for a few years. Well, we've kind of got through that now, and we pretty soon got back to this. I think it took us a year or two, as I said, and we're kind of heading for this. This is our end plan. Maybe to systemize the work as much as we can, maybe get a bit more sleep in there as well, maybe a bit less work. But we're on target to do that. So if people say this is not the reality and you've got to be at the properties every week, well, that's their reality. It's not ours. So my big advice to you would say, if you're still in the phase where you're doing a lot of work, is just don't quit. Just keep on going, keep systemizing everything, and it will come. Right, before we get into Polio, what Polio can do for you, or Polio, there's 3 little things I want to teach you how to suck eggs here, I'm afraid. My grandma taught me this, and I'm going to teach it to you, because if you really want to systemize things and get things under control, the first thing you've got to do is clear the decks. And I know pretty much everybody suffers from this, and this is the tsunami of emails. There's only one way to beat this, is to be ruthless, get a grip, and unsubscribe everything. If you delete things, they keep coming back and they're distracting you. It's like, I kind of liken this to somebody stood behind you, flicking your ear endlessly. So the only way to stop that is to unsubscribe. If things aren't helping you on your journey to financial freedom, unsubscribe, be ruthless. Number 2, does your desk look like this? My desk looks like this sometimes if I'm creating a manual and I've got like a lot of research. But me and Emily have got this mantra that we get to the end of the week. We like to zen things. We like to zen our desk, zen the desktop, get the whole place kind of clear. So when you come back on Monday again, you start afresh. So Will, your desk, you're pretty sort of hot with this.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of 0 emails in the inbox.
So is this your desk, or would you be happy with this desk?
I would say there's... What's the point in the clock there? Because you've got a clock on your computer. And colouring pencils, what are they for?
I need a hobby.
Also, there's 2 notebooks there. Who needs 2 notebooks? You can have one.
So this does not pass the Will test.
No, it's close though. It's a lot better than the previous one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, the third one. If you haven't got your business in the cloud, I would say either your business is in the cloud or your head's in the cloud. If you think clouds are fluffy things that float in the sky, then you need to have a look at Lord Google this evening and get your business in the cloud as fast as you can. That's all I'm going to say about that. Do some research on that. Get your business in the cloud. So, right, let's get to the manual. Here he is, Polio, holding up the manual. Yeah, like I said, we've systemized pretty much everything. Are we done well? Is there more to systemize?
Well, I always think one of our sort of mantras in our business is canny, continuous and never-ending improvement.
Oh, I like that.
And I think it's just continuously improving things so that, if you stop improving, you start falling backwards, really, I'd say.
What's that little phrase? If you rust, you rot? Is that? Or have I got that rest? If you rest, you rust.
If you rest, you rot. That's a good one.
Yeah, probably rest Russ, what? Anyway, let's crack on. So one of the things that we were pushing to do for a long time is to eliminate paper from the office. But unfortunately, in our office, 50% of the people said yes and 50% of the people said no. And as I've already said, Emily is the boss and she said no. So we didn't manage to do this for quite some time, but we've done this now. Will, do you want to talk about signature?
This completely transformed our business. So for ages, we had everything printed off in paper. It just takes up so much mind space. There's room for things to be lost. And it's just a real hassle, especially when you're printing off, 5 to 10 tenancies a month. And trying to keep hold of all of them, not lose them at all. We bought Right Signature in, which is linked and owned by the same company as Polio. It's Citrix. And what you can do is you can send off your tenancy to be filled out by the tenant and signed by the tenant. That once they've signed it, it'll automatically get sent to yourself. You sign it, and then it sends a signed copy to both parties. So it's just amazing.
How much are we saving on ink, would you say?
We were spending around £100 a month on ink beforehand, so it's just a no-brainer, an absolute no-brainer.
So that's £1,200 a year, but for holidays. Yeah. But the hardest thing with this is to change over, because it's hard to change. If you've always done things one way, it's just kind of easy to stick with that. But we made a concentrated effort last... how long ago was it now? Probably 2 months ago, I guess, and it's just amazing. Okay, I just love this one. Back in the days when I used to work in the construction industry, and this was the days before mobile phones, I used to waste evenings when I'd get home and have to make all my calls. I think I might have had email in those days, but getting the right apps on your phone, and I don't have huge amounts of apps on my phone. I have the apps that I actually use. I've got friends who've got hundreds of apps on their phone, which I find a bit confusing. You think this is great?
It's amazing. Well, I always think that if there's something that you can't do on your phone and you have to do it in the office, then it's drawing you back into that 9-to-5 role that you got into property to get out of. So I'd say 95% of the stuff we do now we can do on our phones, including tenancy creators, reference checks, everything like that, as well as responding to tenants on spare room, all our emails, all our receipts and our accounting is all done on phones. And it's just completely transformed the way we do things and get us out of that 9-to-5 job, and we can do it wherever we are.
And there is, of course, an app for Polio as well.
Yeah, there's an app for Polio.
Yeah. This is something that I guess I did in the old days when I was working in construction. But when we moved into property, I kind of forgot this. Now we're just religious on this. We record the names of 3 painters, 3 electricians, 3 plumbers, 3 handymen, 3 gardeners, 3 everything. Some of them we've even got 4 or 5. We keep this as a document in the cloud, and we update it probably every 2 months to make sure that people are still around and they're still available. The reason for this is, let's take, for instance, we had a job once where we got the keys to the property on the Monday, so I phoned the plumber up. He couldn't come and do the job because he just started another job. I phoned the painter up. He just came back from a skiing holiday and broke his leg, so he couldn't work. I phoned the cleaner up to do a deep clean. She'd met a really rich guy and didn't have to work anymore. And I'm not making this stuff up. So what do we have to do then? We're fishing around trying to find somebody else to do the work. Eventually we did find a plumber who was free. Never met the guy before. He turned up. His work was really poor. It created problems. Oh my God. So imagine then if I'd have just gone back to document it in the cloud and say, okay, those guys can't do it, then I'll phone choice number 2 and phone choice number 3. And we to do that now, we've got it to document. We've got how many names on it? Maybe about 60. And the best way to find good tradesmen is if you've got a good plumber, ask him to recommend a good sparky and a good handyman, because birds of a feather often stick together. So this has been huge for us, and I would say put some time and effort into this just straight away. So this is a bit of a snapshot, some of the things that you'll find in the systems manual, and we currently sell this on the website. The website address is at the bottom of every slide, multiletcashflowsystem.com, and we sell this for £134 on the website, but stick around to the end and we might be able to do a little offer on that. So what else does it contain, Will?
Yeah, so as well as the property management software, we talk about that in a lot of detail in the Systems Masterclass manual. We also go through a lot of other systems, because it's not just about managing and systemizing your properties is also systemizing your business. So we talk about one of Francis's favourites is eliminate, delegate, automate. But also we talk about things like systemizing your phone, virtual assistants, that's part of the delegating part of it. But I think your favourite is eliminating, isn't it?
Yeah, what I used to find in the early days, being of an entrepreneurial kind of mindset, I used to think I had to do everything, and I would try to do everything. So that just completely consumes me. So now what I do, if a job lands on my desk, I think, right, who can I give this job to do? That's delegating it. If I can't do that, then I automate it. And if I can't do that, I just try and eliminate it. Just, do I actually need to do this? I think one of the hardest things that an entrepreneur has got to do is say no to things. And I also love the bottom one as well, because for me, all this property work, all it's about is being free. So if I don't choose to set my alarm, if I want to go on holiday to Egypt for a week, I can jump on a plane. So it's all about getting everything in place to create a certain amount of freedom, I guess. All right, Will, I've got a funny feeling coming over me. I think it's time for the big one.
The big one.
So tell us about this then. This is Polio.
So this is Polio, yeah. We've been working on this, as I said before, for the last couple of years. And the big thing with Polio is it's completely transformed the way we manage our tenancies. And I think we're going to talk about, a couple of years ago, we started trialing a lot of different property management softwares because we realised that we couldn't live off of Excel forever. And so I'm just going to go through some of the ones that we looked at and the reasons why we didn't choose them. But Excel was great when we had about 4 or 5, 6 properties. It was fantastic at the start. When we started getting to about 10 or 15 properties, we had a massive headache. And if you don't set these systems up from the start, from property one, you realise the amount of effort you've got to put in to transfer all the data into a new system. Excel's great in terms of just putting data on a screen, but you can't get it to talk to each other. So if one thing changes, it doesn't alter another thing. You can't talk between lots of different Excel spreadsheets. So it just becomes a massive headache, and you spend so much time just continually updating things. Some of the other property management softwares out there we looked at was RentPro, Arthur, and Big Roof. Now, all of these are great in their own way. As you can see, they range from about £45 up to about £80 to start with, but a lot of them increase hugely when you scale up, and you may have 50 or 100 rooms. These get up to over £100 a month. The problem we found with a lot of these is they did a lot of things we liked, but there wasn't always everything. So we ended up calling back to the good old Excel spreadsheet for a few things. And you know what it can be like. Spreadsheet hell is just an absolute nightmare. And if you can't do everything on a system, I don't kind of see the point in using it at all. Because if you can't spend your life, managing it from that one place, you keep calling back to the old spreadsheet, which could be a nightmare.
And for me as well, it was the suspense, because if we signed up for RentPro 78 and Arthur about 75, that's £150 out of our door each week. And we weren't particularly happy with the service in the first place. So very frustrating time for us before we discovered
Polio.
Yeah, so
absolutely. So as I mentioned before, there's Polio again in a visual context.
Yeah.
With Polio, what we can do and what we've done over the last 2 years, it's almost like you start with a blank piece of paper. And I'll just talk you through now some of the sort of the structure of Polio and what we've done with it, so you can get an idea of what it can do for you.
So what's in the box? Well, I always think since we discovered Polio, it feels like you get all your birthdays and all your Christmases rolled into one. So
yeah, it's fantastic.
What is in the box, Well?
So with Polio, this is the way it's structured. You've got your items, apps, workspaces, and organizations. And I think the way to think about it is your organization is obviously your organization as a whole, so your letting agency, or it could be your name if you're a landlord. Your workspaces, so you can split those more into sort of users. So with workspaces, you might have a user for yourself in your property, a workspace for yourself and your property manager. You might have another workspace for yourself and your cleaner. So you can split these off into different areas, but each app talks to itself. So the next level down is obviously apps. I'm going to talk you through some of the apps. So an app could be maintenance, an app could be tenant application forms, it could be tenants moving in and out. And within that, you've got items. So within a tenancy app, you've got a tenant, which is an individual. So these are the apps that we've created over the last couple of years that all talk to each other and all fully manage our properties. So the first one is kind of a basic one to start with, our properties as a whole. So obviously in here we put the address of our property, the landlord's details, or if it's our own details. But we also keep all data stored in there, such as Virgin Media passwords and utility warehouse logins and everything like that. It's all within there, so you can access every detail about the tenant, about the property. We've got our tenant application forms, so they've gone online. So a couple of years ago, we used to print out tenant application forms, get the tenant to fill them out, then bring them back to us, then we'd scan them in and keep them online, and it's so time consuming. We now have a link straight from Polio where people can fill a web form out. We've put that web form on our website. So when someone wants to apply for a room, they literally fill it out online. It goes straight into Polio and notifies us on our phone. We can then go in, and if they pass our sort of glance over, we send them off for referencing straight away. Once they've passed referencing, we send the tenant the AST and all the paperwork to sign. So it's all done with a click of a button. We also deal with all our maintenance online. So again, we've got a web form where tenants can submit any maintenance issues in the house. We can then send them off to particular maintenance men, and they can get a breakdown of what's happened, when it needs to be fixed, how urgent it is, and any notes we want to add on, which is just so easy because beforehand we were getting emails, texts and phone calls all about maintenance issues. And you know what it's like, it can get lost in the system, where if you've got them all in one place and the maintenance man can update you once they're completed, then you know it's been done and dealt with, and you can sort of attach pictures to that also, so it's fantastic. The next one's moving in and moving out, and this is a bit of like a workflow. So when a tenant notifies us that they're moving out, we've got a workflow from the day they move out to when the adverts are set, all the way through to when the new tenant moves in, to make sure that every part of the process is ticked off. So that's really important and really handy to make sure you don't let anything slip, and it notifies you if you haven't done anything by a certain date. We've also got, these are sort of two sort of simpler apps, but it's landlord maintenance payments and tenant maintenance payments. So let's say you pay for something on the behalf of a landlord, or a tenant owes you some money. You can submit this into here. If you do use Xero, you can integrate it with Xero so that it notifies you when the payment has been received, or another team member such as your accounts person can tick it off once it's been received. So it's just to make sure that you don't forget about any payments. Interim inspections, so we put all our interim inspections into Polio, and then it links to that so that we can update any maintenance issues that we find when we're doing interim inspections. And then we can put those on our list and send them to our maintenance team. So that's really important. And finally, tenants. So we've got a profile for every tenant that lives in our properties and every previous tenant. When they sign the AST and all the paperwork, it automatically goes into their tenant profile. It also updates you when they need when you can increase their rent, or when their periodic tenancy is coming to an end. So you can send out an automatic reminder. But what we've done here is all of these apps talk to each other, so that you're in a position where you can where you can control everything to do with your business from one place, and it's fantastic. Yeah, as you can tell from the passion in my voice.
Will, I'd say it's transformed our business, but I'd say it's also transformed you.
Oh, 100%. I dream of Polio now.
So all you've got to do, if you want to set up Polio, is create an account, set up all your items, set up all your apps, link them all together, create different workspaces, pay £200 plus for full access, adapt Polio to your business, and you just got to figure it all out for yourself, and it's going to take you quite a bit of time to do that, I think. How long did you do the test with this, Will?
So before we released version 1, we were playing around with it for about 4 or 5 months. Then we released version 1, and then from there we've worked on it for another year or so. And now we're at the stage where we can release it to everyone else.
Yeah, we've been talking to people in the community, asking for feedback and improving it till such a time as we're really kind of happy with it and prepared to launch. So you could do this, but what's the alternative, Will?
We're not that harsh. We make it nice and easy for you. So what you need to do is you can purchase the Systems Masterclass manual. Once you're in there, you can go to near the back. There's a link where you can send us an email to set up your Polio account. We set it up for you, and then we do the rest for you. So we set it up, send you the link, you can log in, and then you can start putting all your data into Polio.
Okay, so it's £134, or is it? Have we got a special offer? I think we have.
Yeah, we have.
But I think all it's about with us, as I've already said a few times really, and for me it's huge, it's about retaining the lifestyle. And here's that lazy polio robot, there he is. Because I don't know what stage you are in your property business, but certainly with us, if I look back 2 years ago, I was feeling a bit kind of overwhelmed, and I began to hate the whole thing. So it was a case of either get this under control, or it's just going to destroy us really. And also, of course, there's more to systems, and that good systems will make you more money more easily, more often, and it has increased our bottom line, considerably.
100%. And just to add to that, something that used to take us maybe an hour or two in terms of printing an AST off, plus all the ink that you said earlier, printing an AST off, going to meet the tenant, signing it, coming back, and all of that we've now brought down into about a 30-second process, which just saved us so much time.
Yeah, so that's 1 hour reduced down to 30 seconds. And if you multiply that by all the tenants you're going to be signing in and out over the years, you're saving like heaps of time, enough time to maybe go and take the dog for a walk, I'm thinking. So what are we doing? Have we got a special offer on this then?
Okay, so what we can do for you today is we can offer you the manual. Instead of £134, it's just £67, and that's a one-off payment of £67.
And we usually save the 50% off discounts for people inside our community, but we've decided to extend this out to everybody now because it's just too good to miss, to be honest.
Yeah.
So what else have we got, Will?
So also the software, because obviously we're paying a lot of money for the software, we're offering this out for $14.99 a month, which is so cheap. Also, that includes all of the sort of tenancy creators, so all the online signatures. That's within the $14.99 a month. Plus, we set it all up for you beforehand.
When you think we were paying nearly £150 a month, and the standard of the software was nowhere close to this at all. And of course, you can get it on a 30-day free trial, but we guarantee once you try it, you'll love it, because most people do. We do training modules for you as well. Where will people find them, Will?
Yeah, so once you've signed up and you've sent us your details, we'll send you over a link where you can access loads of videos, show you the whole process of how to set it up, and make it really easy for you. We'll also do software updates, so if anything changes over time, it's not like we charge you extra for that. We'll send you an email within the system notifying you of any updates we've made, and then you can access those as well.
And something I was a bit passionate about, which I said we've got to include, is the ability to opt out at any time. I'm not sure if it's quite the same as it was, but I can remember a time when I subscribed to a magazine and I was tied in for a year and it was rubbish, it was a mistake. And if you didn't unsubscribe at the right time, they subscribed you in again for a year. So, but I'm not sure if the laws have changed. But with ours, you can unsubscribe at any time, but guaranteed, once you try this, you'll stick with this. So what do people do then, Will? What's their first movement?
Yep, so if you want to go to, if you want to get your hands on Polio as well as the Systems Masterclass manual, you go to www.mlcs-systems.com. On there, you can click through, put in your payment details. We'll send you out your manual within first class, so the next working day. And then we'll also sign you up for the $14.99 a month. You'll get 30 days free at first. So if you trial the software and you don't like it, you can just cancel it at any point.
Yeah, just let us know, and we're as straight as they come, so we'll cancel it. Guarantee we won't take anything out of your bank. So it's pretty simple. Just go to mlcs-systems, there's an S on that, .com, and take it from there. So thank you very much, Will.
Thank you.
And goodbye.